Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Stryve Golf Podcast. Devin here. We have another roundtable discussion. We've added another, though. We got Mr. Dallas Dane here. So we got our starting five here for the pod to recap what was an awesome week, the best week in golf for the Masters. So, boys, how are we doing? Dallas, you first, man. How are you? It's good to have you back as a returning guest and joining the roundtable.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me back. I mean, it was an awesome Masters, the best week in sports. Just feeling pretty good after watching that.
Love it. It's good to have you back, and it really was. It was coming off a little Masters hangover, so we're gonna keep it riding as long as we can through this week. Sean, how's it going? What's your take? I know you got plenty. We'll save the Jim Nantz takes for later. Other than that, what was your experience?
Honestly, a little sad though. Is the Monday morning after the Masters. It's
a little
fun week, but yeah, a little sad. Didn't help that I woke up to some more miserable weather up here in Salt Lake, and we've got snow on the forecast, so we just can't get into golf season fast enough. So.
You truly hate to see that. Pierce, you're up there, and you're a fellow wildling. How's it going, man?
Good. The Masters is great. It really made me want to go play some golf, and I was able to play this weekend. But right now, unfortunately, no. Probably not for a few days. Got to wait for the snow to come. Apparently.
I hate it. And then my fellow guy is soaking up the sun in St. George. Victor, how are you, my man?
Not bad. I actually got to play a little bit of golf today, so I took that 4 days of the Masters and said I got to go practice some stuff, and got out there even though it was a little windy here in St. George. I got to play some golf this afternoon, so I'm doing all right.
Yeah, I can attest. It was a little rough. It was my little girl. It was her second birthday on Saturday, so that was a rough one, having to say no to the early morning tee time on Masters Saturday and had to celebrate her. But that's all right too. She's pretty great. So that was fun. But it's definitely, the golf itch is strong, and luckily though we have some good weather down here, so we can bask in that. So sorry, boys. And then Dane might be coming down this weekend to St. George, and hopefully we can hit the course. So it'll be good. So fellas, where do we start, man? There's so much to unpack and unfold and give our takes. Exciting week. I mean, everything from not one, not two, not three, but 4 putts to decide the winner of the Masters. Scotty, that was in true Scotty fashion with a nice 4 putt there from Tiger playing to some of our takes, specifically mine, making cuts, not making cuts. I mean, there's so much to unfold. So Sean, where do we start, man? You seem like you're the coverage take master, so I'm going to default to you here. What are your thoughts?
You just have to start off and just acknowledge the incredible run Scotty Scheffler continues to be on. He's now won 4 tournaments in 6 starts, one of which is now the Masters. So I think what does that encompass? Basically, like the last 2 months or something, he's won 4 tournaments, and he's pocketed, I think I saw he's made like $8 million in those 6 starts. So he's on as good of a stretch golf wise as we've seen really for quite some time, right? This is bringing back some true Tiger memories, honestly, where it's just like every time he tees it up right now, he's a real threat to win it. And the final leaderboard doesn't quite do his domination justice this week, because he truly ran away from the field. And even when he started off a little shaky yesterday morning, and he acknowledged like how nervous he was starting off that final round, like what was the story he gave? He talked about how like he was legitimately crying that like morning. Just he was so like scared, basically so overwhelmed. But like he was so dominant that it just didn't even seem like he was going to slip up ever. So even kind of the shaky start was so minor, really, in the grand scheme of things. He played so well. The conditions were not easy. As I think, Victor, what did you say? There were 9 guys total under par all week. And so to have a guy get into double digits under par and essentially I mean, I know he had the 4 putt to end everything, but to win by 5 shots in a major field, pretty impressive stuff. I gotta tip my cap to him for sure, because that's, I mean, up there with all-time individual Masters performances for sure.
Yeah. And that, like, hearing that quote, that was like, that kind of changed things for me personally and how I felt about him. Cause like, I, I, I like Scotty Scheffler. There's nothing I have against him. I just, before, like, especially this run, like, I think the Ryder Cup helped. Like, I was like, yeah, he's a sick young American. Like, he's going to be on these Ryder Cup teams for a long time. So I naturally get behind him, but it didn't seem like he like really gave you much. Like, watching him, it was just kind of like, he's not like, you know, a Spieth or a Rom that wears his emotions on his sleeve, and he just kind of seems like nothing really bothers him, to his credit. But it just, from a viewing perspective, it's kind of like whatever. But to like hear that, I was like, that is impressive, because obviously we didn't know that he was feeling that way before he teed off. And like watching him play, like, yeah, he started off a little shaky, and I think that chip in on 3 just totally settled the nerves. And that was another take, because he caught a heck of a break there, which I was kind of like, I didn't really like it, but again, I was a little biased rooting for Cam. But anyway, another take. But to his credit, I think it was really cool that he felt that way, and I would have never have guessed that he was feeling that way prior to teeing it up. So super impressive, to hold the nerves like that, and just, yeah, hold steady with some of the momentums. It just seems like anytime it seemed to shift just a little bit, he just held it steady like that. I mean, Cam birdies 11, and his shot way left on 12, after Cam dunks it in the water. But that up and down was unreal. That was, to me, I felt like similar to a Tiger, like when he made par. It was like, yeah, I think he's got it on lock. So yeah, incredible performance, and shout out to him. So Dane, what are your thoughts on Scotty Scheffler? Just, another Texas Longhorn and another stud, but what are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, another guy from Dallas that you love to root for. I like, he was so nails. He was so nails coming down the stretch. Like, I'm sure we'll get into it, like favorite shots of the tournament. I think Sean and I were both probably pulling pretty hard for Rory, watching him, go out and shoot a blazing 64 on Sunday. And like every birdie that Rory made, you were just like kind of hoping that Scheffler would maybe slip a little just to make it interesting even. Yeah. And like the shot that he hit into 14 was just like, it was incredible. That's such a hard green. Like if you go long of that green, the up and down is impossible back there. And he just he hits that gap wedge to the very back edge of the fringe and spins it back, within inches of the cup, and has a 3-footer for birdie to just like put the final nail in the coffin. And it was just like, okay, if he's doing that, like, props, because he's in such control of his iron game, which is so key around Augusta. And he just, I mean, all week he was nailing those shots.
Yeah, with the Tiger clubs, which is even more impressive. Those things are butter knives, man. So yeah, that's a good take.
He wasn't giving Tiger's shoes a good name. I think, everybody who watches golf 4 times a year is going to be like, man, this guy needs some new spikes, because he slips on every shot.
It's true. It's true. If you want to be nailed to the ground, it's not, it's not marketing it that way very well with his footwork, but nonetheless, yeah, that was true. That shot on 14, that's a great take, because that really was just crazy impressive. Pierce, your thoughts on that? Like, trying to put yourself, I know we've kind of talked a lot about, kind of how we manage nerves at like just little things that we've done, like little tournaments or, things like that. But what are your thoughts on just his dominant performance?
Yeah, I think it goes back to Thursday. Obviously I was all for Tiger and watched every shot of his. I sent it for ESPN Plus, just because I could follow every shot, and so I was super stoked. But they kept going back to Scotty Scheffler, and they're like, Scheffler out of the bunker. He kept going in the bunker, and he got up and down every single time. He kept saving his par. It's like, that guy just set the tone early. Like, he wasn't going to miss anything. And so I think Thursday was key for him to have that momentum, because he set the tone. And then from there, it was just like, he has a huge lead, and it was one of those things where if he were to lose, it would be someone coming to chase him, and he didn't slip up. So it was a pretty awesome performance to watch. Honestly, I think it started on Thursday, and just his mentality and his approach.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point too. I mean, it's crazy. And Tiger kind of pointed to it too. Just like, I think a lot of players get on these hot streaks and you just hope and pray that it happens to fall, on a major week. And sure enough for him, it has. And yeah, he did kind of just set the tone and just steady Eddie, and just kept it through, which is, crazy impressive at, 25 years of age. So
yeah, that was phenomenal. That was fun to watch. Good for him.
And a good coverage take on ESPN Plus, dude. I watched a lot of that too. I loved Colt Knost and Shane Bacon together.
Same.
Fantastic. Like, I loved it. Sean, I'm sure you have some takes on that, but I really liked it. I am biased. I really do like Shane Bacon a lot. I think I like him. And Colt is, he can kind of be a bit much at times, but I thought it was a nice change up. So I stuck with the ESPN Plus coverage for quite some time. But
oh yeah, 100%. The early week coverage on ESPN Plus, where they get just so much more focused on the golf, night and day better than the weekend main broadcast, for sure, in my opinion anyway. Yeah. So
it's a hot opinion.
No commercials. It's great.
Victor, give us your thoughts, man. I know you're a big fan of it all. Let's hear it.
No, Max Homa put a great tweet out yesterday. He said
can always
that
count on Max.
If you're going to 4-putt to win the Masters by 3, you might as well 6-putt just to say you did it. And I thought, man, like how great would that be? I mean, Scotty Scheffler is playing out of his mind right now, and what he did was, it was amazing. Even the Saturday round. So the Sunday round, it was just like, when is he going to slip up? Because everybody's doing it out there. Everybody is putting a ball into the water at some point that gets their mind going. They get a little bogey train going, and he just never did. He would always get up and down. And it was kind of boring to watch, but at the same time, you started to get this appreciation of this dude is rock solid at every part of his game. He's driving the ball into the fairway. When he gets into trouble, he hits out into an area where he can get up and down, and he would get up and down. And obviously just luck. I'm going to call it lucky, because he knows deep down that chip in on number 3 yesterday was luck. He very easily could have done what Cameron Champ is and put that chip by a little bit and then miss a par putt, and then away you go on your first bogey for the day. Yeah. And for him to chip that in was just, well, that final round is now decided right then and there that the steam is, to a certain degree, was out of Cameron Champ's birdie start. And here comes Mr. No mistakes, Scotty Scheffler. Yeah. Sure, he made his bogeys, but everybody made their bogeys out there. He just didn't put them together and get the big numbers that some other people would.
Yeah, that's good point. Yeah, and it's true, because that thing was racing by. That had some pace. So good thing those cups are cut perfect and the stick is straight down, because that just banged into it and dropped. Oh, if that goes by, dude, that kind of gets a little rattled given his start on 1 and 2. Makes a big number, but also you can't even forget about the very generous ruling he got from the scoreboard and that relief.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, that scoreboard's, to a certain degree, it's in the way. I mean, if he wants to shape a shot, he needs to be able to do it. He's just got to find his point of relief there. But to put something into perspective, like, yes, he 4-putted the last hole. Should he have just standard 2-putt? He wins by 5. And it's like, all of us as the viewers, like, we wanted a close drama. We thought we were going to get it after the second round, where we saw everybody just bunched up on that at the leaderboard. And then he just pulled away the last 2 days. But it was like, oh man, like, this was boring to watch. There wasn't the drama we wanted. Like, Rory's 64. It wasn't like he was a shot behind him. He was still way back at the time. It was just a matter of would he drop. And it was like, well, this is to a certain degree what so much of the golf world had to witness. I mean, we were just young kids when Tiger was on his dominance. Let me put this in perspective. The 97 Masters, Tiger Woods won by 12 shots. I mean, who wins a golf tournament these days by 12 shots? He was 18 under, and the next guy below him was second place Tom Kite at 6 under. And I mean, it's just, I appreciate what Scotty Scheffler is doing. I'm glad he's going to be on the American team for all the different President and Ryder Cups that are going on. But, will this be sustained? Hard to say, because you've had so many players like Rory that has got hot early in his career, won multiple majors, and he hasn't won one since 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And then Padraig Harrington, same thing. He won like 3 majors in like the span of like 2 seasons, and then hasn't won a thing since, and is almost Mr. Irrelevant there. So it's like, this is so hard to do. That's why what Tiger's done during his career is just amazing.
For sure.
It'll never be matched.
Yeah, it's true. And like, yeah, Spieth's 2015 year. It's like, it's really hard to follow up. Like, and I feel like Scotty's put, like, the expectations are so high now, like, especially winning this, like that is hard to sustain in this game, like with how many good players there are and just how competitive and how draining that could be. I can only imagine, like, I get tired after we play our, 18 hole, game of banker. I'm exhausted mentally. So can't imagine a full tournament. Like, it really is. It's hard to sustain, but yeah, he could have, like, similar to Spieth, have his career year in like he did in 2015. But that'll be yet to be seen, but it is impressive, and seems like a good segue into, obviously, I'm sure someone's going to talk about it, of just, the week that Tiger had, and, how impressive it was. So obviously, as I will publicly apologize for saying he was not going to make the easiest cut to make. I doubted it, but he once again proved me wrong and stuck with it. His round, honestly, on Friday, I felt was more impressive than Thursday. Like, being 4 over through 5 and still battling back and sticking with, like, that was after like hole 5 or 6, I'm like, ooh, I don't know. The cut line is coming up tight, so I don't know. But sure enough, Tiger did his thing and stuck with it, which is impressive. So what are our Tiger takes? Pierce, I guess we'll default to you, man, because you're the guy who's putting down hardcore cash for Tiger. So,
dude, well, the thing is, like, I always believe he'll win. I don't know why. I just always had this feeling. It's like, even though he didn't even come close to winning, I just believed he would win. But that is what it is. Just gotta believe in him, of course. I mean, after the 2018 year, and he had, obviously winning the Masters in 2019, that was pretty awesome. And for him to come back after his car crash and whatnot and everything to tee it up at Augusta, it's like, how can you not root for this guy? And Tiger's gonna win. But yeah, I don't know. It was awesome to watch him to play. He hit some really good shots, honestly, like that. And that Thursday, that shot on that par 3 hit almost hole in 1. That was pretty cool.
Dart.
Just his putting wasn't there, short game wasn't there, but his swing looks great. Gotta highlight that. His swing did look pretty good.
Yeah, all things considered, right? Like,
yeah,
you could tell there was some where you could tell he kind of had a little issue kind of loading up on and getting to that left side, but yeah, overall it's pretty impressive. But speaking of that, like, this is just a question I haven't even really thought about this, and this could come off again as another anti-Tiger take, which it is not. So Sean, calm down. All right, this is not intended to hate on Tiger, but I am curious though, your thoughts on, like, as Pierce mentioned, that the car crash. Do you guys feel like he owes us, the viewers, the fans, the people, some type of explanation, like some type of, like, addressing it? Or has he earned the right to be like, dude, he's Tiger Woods, he's done enough. I think we can all assume, what it was. Like, we saw him in the interview the day before. I mean, the dude was zapped. Like, he was not there. It was very obvious. And so I don't know. That's just a half-baked idea and a question that I'm curious. Like, do you guys think he owes us that, like, to address it, publicly address it?
I mean, it's so tough because how do you view Tiger Woods, right? Do you just view him strictly as the greatest golfer of all time?
Mm-hmm.
Do you view him as
normal citizen,
a normal human being, right? But personally, I feel like it should be addressed, right? Like, clearly he put himself in danger and others in danger, right?
That's the biggest, yeah, for sure.
Right. You owe it. I feel like it's owed to society to say, okay, what are we doing to prevent someone who clearly has had issues, like substance abuse issues, right? What are we doing to prevent him from potentially harming other people, right?
Mhm.
But it's also a fine line too, right? It's like, okay, you don't want to get involved in his personal life, right? It's obviously his personal life, but I do think there is an element of public safety that went unaddressed with all of this. And it wasn't just even not even just this car accident incident, right? Like he had the DUI thing where he was asleep at the wheel one night, right? So he's clearly had issues. When there's even like when everything first started to go down, right? When he crashed his car fleeing his house, right? When his wife went after him. So it's like he's had all sorts of automobile issues in the past. Like there's a lot of question marks surrounding it all.
Yeah.
But I would say he's hiding behind his, I don't know what you want to call it, but being the greatest golfer of all time. And I mean, it's not, at the end of the day, like I'm not going to lose too much sleep about if more information comes out or whatnot, but I think it's a very fair point that you bring up, and it's fair to discuss for sure.
Okay. I was just curious because I had kind of felt that way. Like I just kind of felt like I'm like, okay, when is something going to come out? And especially there was like mixed stories, like when the police officer who first found him, he claimed that he was fully conscious, he was fully aware, he was speaking to him, and then come to find out that was not true at all. So it's like, okay, like what? I don't know. I just feel like there's just when you're putting others in danger like that, there might warrant that. But again, it's like, well, how much do you go? So anyway, I was just curious. I don't know if anyone else has any other thoughts on that, but that I promise you, I'm not trying to get down in the dumps or an anti-Tiger take. I was just genuinely curious if anyone kind of felt that way.
No, I like the point as well. Obviously, I think it stems down to the way the guy was raised as a kid, like not very social, like all he knew was golf. And so, with the stuff he struggled with in his life, I feel like that stems to a lot of his childhood. Honestly, I don't know. Do you kind of feel like that as well?
Oh yeah. I mean, it definitely, the dude is wired a very certain way, which has enabled him to be a machine on the golf course, but also off. And I think that kind of stems from, what he saw, which obviously we could go into a whole different and deeper and darker thing about that. But I do agree. I think that it's kind of stemmed from his childhood and how he was raised. And I do think that growing up the way he has and that fame kind of feels like he's not subject to normal, laws and what everyone else is.
Oh yeah.
Because if some other dude does that, some Joe Schmo does that, like he's in serious trouble. And again, who knows what happened? Tiger went dark after that for a while, and I'm sure some justice and stuff was met there with the law. Because how do you just not? But yeah, I don't know. That's just again just a little side note that I was just curious. So
Where I settle on with Tiger too is part of me thinks, what if, right? Just because there's no reason why he shouldn't have several more majors, all sorts of more like victories, right? I just feel so much of his troubles ended up being self-inflicted. And I mean, really, I'm just like scrolling through his list of wins and whatnot. Like he was only in his mid 30s, right? When he really started to go downhill.
Yeah.
And so you just think about that a little bit. Like, okay, if you hadn't have gone, like so much of his problems were self-inflicted, right? Whether it was like the hardcore working out, getting into this like intense marine workout stuff that he got into, and obviously some of the substance abuse problems and whatnot. So much of it's like, man, what if that hadn't happened, right? So if he's in his mid 30s, still in pretty good health and able to play a full golf schedule for the next 5 or 6 years, right? Just think about how many more majors, how many more wins he could have had. I don't know. That's something I come back to as well. It's part of me, it's disappointing from like a human side of things, but also just from a golf perspective, right? Like I feel like we were cut short a little bit of just the most amazing golfer that will ever walk the earth.
Right.
Yeah. I wanted to touch on something as well. I remember him saying in the past that the physical or the mental part of golf is the easiest part. He's like, I'm not worried about that. It's staying in physically good shape. And it's like I really believe that with him. I feel like he's so numb to like pressure and stuff like that on the golf course and feeling it to where like he'll never slip, but his ankle obviously and his back and all of his injuries. I think for him is staying healthy
Yeah.
physically. It's crazy.
Which is crazy because I feel like generally that's always like it's flip, at least for me. Like right now,
Yeah.
physically, I'm not worried about being able to, get through a golf tournament. But like mentally, if I can just have a breakdown after a triple, that's like my thing. So I think like him, he just loves to compete, and that's maybe another like I'm curious if you guys think like you think, and you're all athletes, you've all competed in different various levels, but like I'm curious as far as like he always talks about like love. He just loves to compete, loves to compete. Like I don't know if you guys feel that same way. Like I feel like I'm definitely that way. Like I'm a competitive person. Like I love to compete. Do you all feel like that's something that can be learned? Like can you learn to love to compete, or is it just something that is like almost just in your nature? And if it's not, then you can kind of shy away from competing due to like risk of failure. Because to be completely honest, like there are times like where I've kind of felt that. Like I want to say I'm this, tough guy that loves competing, which I do, but I think there's times where like I don't know. I don't know if I have like the killer mentality that Tiger has. It just loves to constantly compete. But so I don't know. I was curious, like if you guys think that like love the competition, loving to compete is something that can be learned over time, or just through exposure, or do you feel like that's just something that is just instinctively part of your nature? Victor, I'm curious, like your specific thought, like because I know you're very competitive that way too, but
Yeah, I mean,
curious.
I'd say now, like obviously golf's like the only sport that I really play at a competitive level. And so now like I look forward, like I plan months down the road, like which tournaments do I want to play in, even if it's individual or team events, like I want to play because I still feel like I can play really good golf now. And I've been playing as good golf now as I have really my entire life. But yeah, like earlier in my life, playing a lot of the different team sports, baseball, football, basketball. Um, I was good at all of them. I really was. But there were certain moments where it was like, there's other people out there that are better than you. Like I knew there was other teams, there were other pitchers, there were other bigger football players that like when I hit them at practice, it hurts. And like to a certain degree, like you love to play, but man, like sometimes you don't want to be the reason why your team loses. And that's maybe why uh, maybe like the competitive mentality of team sports as I got into high school, I drew so much towards golf because I could control my destiny there. Like I was the one in charge of that. And but I would say, yeah, it can definitely be a learned thing because I feel like to a certain degree, I was able to um as I got later into high school, it was man, like I have more confidence in my athletic abilities, but still I'm continuing to learn in other aspects of life that like you can still be like way competitive or confident about something, but still understand that like I'm not the best at this. And to a certain like you don't want to not shine when it's time to shine.
Yeah.
And with golf, it's such a just you versus the course. And if that's my mentality, then like I can be victorious that week or during that tournament, even though my score might not be the best on the scoreboard.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I can appreciate that because there is times where I do feel like I hate losing more than I like winning. Like when I lose, it's like it just it sticks with me and it pisses me off. But like I was just curious. I hate to get off, kind of derail this. But I was just curious from that. Dane, any like thoughts from you? I mean, D1 athlete, we could learn a lot from the perspective. So I'm curious on that standpoint.
D1 viewer. I don't know about athlete, but I had great seats. So no, like I think you hit it on the head. Like I've always, cause I'm super competitive and I've always kind of looked at it like how you just mentioned, like some people love to win and some people hate to lose. And I'm definitely one of those people that just like hates to lose. And that's what, drives and motivates me. And I could definitely think that it can still be learned by people, but I really do think that for most of us, it's it's in your DNA, as far as how competitive you are and how competition affects you and drives you.
Yeah. I like that. And I think we can kind of see that characteristic in a number of like tour players. Like, I think it's kind of funny. Like, people talk about like Finau being that way. Like, he's almost like he's too nice. Like, he's like, okay, you go ahead and win. I'll take second and we'll all go home a lot richer. But like, I don't know if he has a like absolute like killer mentality, which is totally unfair. Like, obviously he's crazy competitive and, but I just think that there might be like a small characteristic there to keep him. So, and I don't know if I get that from Scotty Scheffler either. Like, maybe, but I think it's a little too early to tell, but I just feel like he tapped into something this week and this last 45 days or whatever it is that have just, his game has clicked. So I'd be curious to see how he like would grind one out to win. But I guess he's kind of proven both. Like, he's come from behind. He did that in Phoenix and won. And then he probably did the hardest thing, which is to, get a lead, keep it, and win. So anyway, apologize for the little rant there, but just out of curiosity. So back to the Masters. Like, let's talk favorite moments, because I think everyone has like a little highlight. I don't know, Pierce, if Tiger was just over your overall highlight, if there's specific just favorite Masters memory from this weekend. So Sean, what's yours, man? I'm just chomping at the bit to know.
Yeah, couple. The main one though has got to be Rory making his charge, just because.
Shocker.
I mean, it was financially beneficial for me at a work pool. It was beneficial for me here with our picks, but just from a golf viewership perspective, there's no one I enjoy watching play golf more than when Rory gets on a roll, because he's just fun, right? He's got every shot in the bag. He's super aggressive, and it just married with Augusta and how it's always set up on Sunday, it rewards awesome shots. And if you're aggressive and you go for it and you execute the shot, there are birdies out there. And Rory he had it going, right? Low round of the week by 3-hole shots, which is crazy to have that much separation, right? In a professional tournament. And just all kind of culminating in that final moment on 18, right? Where he holes literally the impossible bunker shot that he hits it toward the back of the green, and the hole was in the front of the green, right? And the ball ends up going in. And then low key loved the moment too when Morikawa knocked in his bunker shot on top of Rory, and Rory was right there celebrating with them. Yeah. So I mean, to me, that I just thought it was a beautiful moment. It kind of captures everything I love about golf and tournament golf. I genuinely think a lot of the guys like each other. They're competing with each other week in and week out. So it was fun to see them kind of celebrate together on that. And it was fun to see Roy make that move, and just, it's what's so frustrating, right? Where he's got it in him to do that at that golf course. So it's like, when can we get that to come out on like a Thursday or Friday or Saturday, right? So he's up there in contention again. And then another small moment that I really liked, I didn't love the 4-putt from Scotty Scheffler to end it, but what I liked about it was it just drove home how incredibly difficult those greens are, right? Because I think Scheffler said it where, honestly, I just kind of mentally checked out. I was just sort of putting at that point. And that just, to me, highlights how incredibly difficult those greens are and how much you have to lock in on every single putt. And there's just no way even a 5 handicapper, I don't know if a 5 handicapper could break 100 on Sunday pins at Augusta. Just those greens are so complex and so difficult. And I think just seeing Scheffler kind of put it all over the hole on the 18th hole after he'd kind of checked out just highlighted to me, like, man, that is an incredibly difficult golf course. And what these guys are doing is amazing. They're truly amazing at what they do. And it's just cool. As someone that loves to play golf and who always aspires to hit good shots, it's fun to just sit back and watch just the most elite players do that.
Yeah. I love that because that's true. Like, I think that's what makes the Masters so great. And yeah, unfortunately for me, my favorite players were not there over the weekend. A few of them, but because like like the Roy thing was absolutely cool. It didn't do as much for me as it did for you, like watching that. Just because I think like knowing like as good as he was playing, like, I still knew like he wasn't gonna win. So I'm just like this is frustrating. It's almost like frustrating. Like it's a little like too much too late. And because I think for me, I was just like, I wanted the drama, like I wanted it to be closer. Like I felt a little let down from that, honestly, like as a viewer. But yeah, I think it is so true. What makes Augusta so incredible. But Victor, favorite moment, man.
I mean, my favorite moment would definitely be seeing Tiger Woods play at the Masters. I mean, just the way that the TV broadcast does such a good job, obviously showcasing the course, showcasing the beauty of Augusta, but just seeing Tiger Woods play is amazing. I mean, it's you don't get this in other sports where once the greats have reached their peak and they're out of the game and the new crowd has come in, someone doesn't just come out of like retirement or an injury like this and play at a top level. I mean, Michael Jordan came back and played a couple seasons with the Wizards, but different. I mean, like it would be like him coming back and playing with Kobe in the late 2000s. We just don't see this in the other sports. And so for us to be able to enjoy just Tiger Woods competing it's amazing, honestly. And who knows how his body will hold up and everything, but he looked good out there. He was hitting drives, he can hit iron shots. I feel like if anything, he's practiced such his short game for these last few months that is actually really good. Might be his strength right now is getting up and down around the greens. He missed a lot of greens, so that might be something to work on, but he got up and down quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so for me, the highlight was, man, watching Tiger play and to get to that moment. Obviously, the weekend was tough for him, as it was for pretty much the entire field, besides some of those top players that really buttoned down and got it done. But Tiger Woods playing that was Christmas morning for all of us going into Masters Week. Was let's see the big cat play, and he played well. He did.
It's true. I don't know if it was just like the podcast thing or what, but like I don't think I've ever been so jazzed for Masters Week. Like I could not wait. Thursday. If anyone from my work is listening, it was not a productive day. We'll just say that. No shame. No shame. I actually had my one-on-one with my boss. I just told him, I'm like straight up, I'm talking to you here. I got Tiger over here though. So let's wrap this up. So anyway, that's a good safe take. Pierce, was that yours too? I don't know if I stole it by asking you originally, but favorite Masters moment.
Yeah, I have a couple actually I'll touch on, but I thought it was really cool how Bryson DeChambeau, how he missed the cut, but people saw him following Tiger because he said, like, I don't know how many more moments we'll get like this. And so patrons were like, is that Bryson in the crowd? And he was just following his group the whole time on Sunday. I thought that was really neat. It's just like the effect he has on the game. But another big one I really liked was just the high scores we saw from everybody. Like these guys are the best players in the world, right? And to see all these scores over par, it just goes to show how hard the game really is and how much I appreciate the game. Seeing someone like Scotty Scheffler go that low, that was just an unbelievable thing. So, and like obviously seeing Cameron Smith start out on Thursday, doubles his first hole, gets 8 birdies, and then doubles his last hole. That was just crazy to me. Like I loved how volatile it was. I feel like it's not like that in the Masters normally. This year was just different.
Yeah. That's some crypto vibes for you, Pierce. Ups and downs and just bookends with the doubles, which I've done that a time or two. So I know that feeling of frustration. That's good. I didn't know that about Bryson. That's hilarious. You think he would just stand out like a sort of big old thick boy.
Meathead, dude.
Big neck. Oh, that's good. Dallas, what about you, man?
Yeah, I think my favorite was just like Rory on Sunday and like every birdie that he made, just getting a little more amped. like with Rory, you're just always waiting for, he's 4 under through 10. You're just waiting for the double bogey from the middle of the fairway with Rory.
Yeah.
And it just like, it never happened. Like there's just birdie after birdie. And I mean, yeah, you kind of knew he was out of the tournament a little bit inside. I was like, oh, there's a chance. Like, remember when Tiger won in 19, and he trailed Molinari for quite a while, and then they got to number 12, right, and like everything just flipped. And so yeah, like he just every birdie from Rory was just sucking me in a little more, even though I knew like there's no chance he's gonna win this thing. But no, it's just fun to watch him. Like Sean said, when he's hitting the ball well, there's probably no one better at it. And like just he's so fun to watch play golf when he plays well. And like sometimes I wish I could just like meet him and be like, dude, you are so good at golf. I don't know why you don't believe in yourself more and play like this all the time. It's so frustrating, but it was awesome.
That's good. I forget you're a big Rory fan with Sean, which is great. Because I agree, like it almost is like, man, if only you could see you through like the way we see you, like outside, that's like, man, you would just run away with it, because he has it all. Like he has the talent, and he drives it better than anybody else, which is such an advantage. So, but it was interesting. We were texting throughout, and like he just was fighting the two-way miss, and currently I'm also fighting a two-way miss, and it is so hard to score. Like that was like one of my favorite things, honestly, as from a Rory take of like it again, personally, I know how difficult it is to like feel comfortable over the ball when you have a two-way miss, especially there. I can't even imagine. It's like to like be fighting that the week sitting up, and then to see that on Sunday, it was like, yeah, like that really is just so impressive for him to know that, fight it, and still just grind out such a low round. So, and that celebration, man, that was just like pure, genuine, so exciting. It was almost unathletic looking there for a second, like just like, but that's so sick. Like that was just genuine excitement, and I feel like years of a little bit of relief for him. And he kind of touched on it, like, yeah, like I can do it, and who knows, like that could be just what he needs to unlock, for the next 10 years of like scaring the Grand Slam. So yeah,
well, that's kind of crazy. Like he's played who knows how many rounds of golf in his life, probably like thousands and thousands, right? And I'm sure there's a little bit of hyperbole, but in his interview after, he said like that's the most fun I've ever had on a golf course. So coming from him, who's played incredible rounds and won majors in dominating fashion, like to hear him say that about a not meaningless, but like kind of meaningless Sunday round at a major was kind of cool. And yeah, just the pure joy you saw, like you said, when he holed that shot on 18, that we definitely weren't surprised to know that he holed it when we finally got to see it.
Yeah, no kidding. Stupid coverage take, man. That was what I hated the most. That's the hot take is, again, we could go on.
Yeah.
I can always pass that mic on to Sean. But I also think that is really cool about last Rory take of just like however much money that the whole round, but specifically that, that hole out from the bunker, like how much, monetary value that had, like that has nothing to do with it with him, obviously, like they're making so much money, but you can tell that it is like cool to kind of see, because that's someone that I feel like we've been able to actually see like kind of mature. Like we were talking about it before, like when you think of Rory and the Masters, you think of, at least for me, I think of chubby Rory just leaning on his yellow grip driver after he just hooked City right into the trees on 10. And like to see him like progress to what he is now, and like the perspective that he has, like we saw him at the Ryder Cup, like they get absolutely whomped at the Ryder Cup, and he gets super emotional after the round, because I think he just has that perspective. So I think it's cool to kind of be able to see him like grow and mature through that. And that is saying something, right? That this was the most fun he's ever had, which is cool. Sean, any last Rory takes before we go on, or should we?
I mean, yeah, it was really the perfect round, because I mean, I think like Dane was saying, you're always expecting that double bogey, and some of the up and downs he had on that back nine were just wild, right? Like he gets up and down on 11, he holds that, what was it, 15 footer for par, right? That got the fist bump from him. Then 12, he has that great two putt from the other side of the green, right? And that putt's got 10 feet of break left to right, two putts there. And then it was 14, right, where he hooked it into the trees off the tee, punched out, and he had this little tricky 70-yard chip shot that he puts it all the way up into that back porch that Dane was mentioning earlier, to have it all come all the way back to the hole for a nice little tap in par. And then the short-sided bunker on 17, where I don't know, they showed a couple of replays of it. That ball barely cleared the lip, and he got it to about 2 feet. So it was literally the only way he could hit that bunker shot, and it cleared the lip by inches.
Yeah.
So that was amazing. And then obviously just the ultimate walk-off on 18 to shoot to tie. It was tied right for the lowest final round score at Augusta. So just, I don't know. It's obviously I'm a huge Rory fan. So anytime I can see him not only just play well, but obviously have a lot of fun doing it, he's just someone I find really easy to root for.
Absolutely. I agree. Well, all right. We okay on Rory now?
We're good. You won't get any more talk about a player that didn't win, right? Than you did just here. But yeah, happy for him. But still, shout out Scotty Scheffler, very deserved winner. Good on him.
Yeah, I think. And so I think kind of moving into some things that we didn't like. I mean, Dan, you touched on mine. Like again, the coverage of that whole thing with that was a little frustrating. So anything that you guys didn't like, or that was like, I've seen enough of this, or too much of this, or anything like from a viewing perspective that wasn't your favorite. Anything you guys want to touch on? Sean, you want to start us off on that? Like anything from your end?
Yeah, where do I begin? Is it time for my Jim Nance?
Yeah, I was gonna say we better put Victor on mute, and then you can go ahead, and then we'll mute you and give Victor a turn to state his defense.
I just have to say, I could do without the whole green jacket in Butler cabin TV spot after, right? That's like 30 or 40 minutes that I just don't need. We don't need that much Jim Nance TV time. We don't need the awkward interview like, oh, how did it feel to hit this shot on this hole? I mean, it obviously felt good. The guy just won the green jacket. I don't need to interview last year's winner. Like, obviously, he's bummed he didn't repeat, but he's still a Masters champion. It's just a little awkward for me. I don't need it. So I had to turn it off after a couple minutes. It was just too much for me.
Yeah. I can attest that those interviews are pretty awkward. I will say, shout out to Mike Tirico when he did the Anwa. They do a similar thing, right? They go into Butler's cabin, they do the thing, and they have I'm drawing a blank on his name, the Masters, the chair guy. Anyway, he's
Ridley.
in there too.
Yeah, Ridley. He's just as bad, but
yeah,
anyway.
He's in there too. But Mike Tirico, he did make it a little less awkward. He kind of got to the point, asked very easy, like kind of specific questions, just teed him up great, and moved on. But it is a little awkward, but hey, it's a tradition, and a tradition like any other. Victor, you got anything to say to that? Your boys getting roasted.
Look, I stopped watching it as soon as, I don't know, just a few minutes after that final putt went in. So I am not one to stick around. Even when Tiger won it in 2019, I'm not watching the interviews and Butler cabin and all of that. Like I just want to see the winner. Saw as wonderful as Scotty Scheffler is, he doesn't know how to put on a jacket or a coat or anything like that. And so as soon as he got the green jacket on, it's like, all right, like we're good. Like that's the Masters. It's complete. I mean, I don't know who sticks around and watches the rest of those interviews and everything, but I like the broadcast with Jim Nance, whether it's football, March Madness, golf. I feel like he does a good job of being able to be the voice of a broadcast and to give energy to the event and to give context there. Now, if you want to sit around and nitpick him, you will find reasons to not like the guy, but I think Jim Nance does a good job, and golf would not be as wonderful without Jim Nance and his calm voice giving you the Masters at Augusta.
Hey, I can play both sides here. I'm just facilitating, and I agree. I am a Jim Nance fan. I've told Sean this before. Like I do like him. I do think that he does a good job. I do think he likes to have his moment and give the the one-liners that'll be repeated through history, whatever. But again, I got a lot of respect from him in 19 when he did his return to glory and just let it happen. So I do like him, and I it was great. But so not a lot that I didn't not like. I think some people, there was some hot takes to the changes that were made specifically on 11 and 15. Some folks, like I heard that, they really liked the change, that it made going for it more difficult. And then others, the exact opposite. It was kind of boring because no one really went for it. Dane, what are your thoughts on that? Like specifically, I think the changes to 15, 11's hard regardless. Like, I don't care how many trees they take down. 11 is freaking hard. So, but 15, I think is a good one. Like, considering it's this par 5 with water short, potentially water long, it seemed like it maybe used to be a little bit more exciting. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm out on the changes to 15. Like, I don't know. There's something about, like every year you're watching the Masters and like the final, I don't know, 4, maybe 5 groupings, right, are the guys that have a chance to win it. But Augusta, the way the course is set up with the back 9 being so scoreable, and especially like the Sunday pins, you can get after them. Like there's almost always manufactured drama because somebody will get out early and they're hot, and like they make birdie or eagle on 13, and then they also have a chance to make a pretty easy birdie, or if they want to go for it, an eagle on 15, and then there's the funnel pin on 16. So like you can have somebody get hot and move up the leaderboard and make the tournament feel closer than it is, and it's a lot of fun that way. And like 15 this year, like I know it played into the wind and the weather. Like it was cold on Friday and Saturday, and so you're not going to hit it as far then. But like it's really bad when there's more eagles on number 10 than there are on number 15 for the week. And there was 2 eagles on 10 and none on 15. Like, wow. It's just crazy. So I feel like yeah, everybody's like, oh, the par 5s at Augusta are so easy that they're just like automatic birdies. But I kind of like that because a lot of the par 4s are so hard and the par 3s are so difficult, especially some of the pin placements, that like having an easy couple of par 5s, especially down the stretch, like it just makes it a lot of fun. And I felt like we were kind of missing that this year with 15. Like, I don't know, every time it cut to 15, like I almost didn't even care about the tee shot. It's like it could be down the middle or down the right side, or it could be hooked left into the trees and guys are just pitching it down to the same spot to get that 110 to 80-yard shot into 15. So like, I don't know, I just felt like it kind of took some of the excitement out of the tournament.
It's a really good take. And you're kind of swaying me, but Sean, yeah.
I was going to say, yeah, very good point on 15. What I think it did is it really tightened the range of scores that you saw in 15, right? So normally when you have more of an invite or more of an opportunity to go for it into, it brings the water short and the water deep into play. So at that point, that'll bring in bogey, right? Bogey or bigger, yeah. But it also brings in eagle. But this year, when most people were just laying up, you had your scores are either going to be kind of birdie or par kind of thing. So you weren't going to see huge swings on that hole that you typically might have seen, especially on a Sunday, right, where lots of people going with it. So I think that did really kind of damper a lot of the excitement you get on that hole. So I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even think of anybody that hit it in the water short. Like trying to think back and going for it and coming up just short enough that it comes back in.
Yeah, I'm fully in on your take. One thing I would I would love to have heard, and unfortunately they get to see it throughout the week, but I would love to hear the caddy player conversations like that, to like see the changes, especially the first time they see it. I would have just loved to hear those. Like, there's nothing better to me than listening to those guys talk. So I would be really curious to hear that. But I agree. Like it really was. It did. Like it was just so shocking. Like 15. Oh, okay, you're just gonna hit it to that number, which was still like not a super easy wedge shot, but yeah, it really did. It took out a lot of the drama and allowing for guys to make a run, because it really was like Victor and I, when we were playing, we're kind of checking scores, listening to the radio, and it was like, oh, DJ is already this many under. He still hasn't even hit 13, 15, and 16 yet. And those really weren't like that great of scoring holes. So yeah, I agree, man. I think those are good takes, and I can side with you on on 15, right? Because everyone, like we talked about,
Yeah.
11 is just so hard. People bailing out, and like, and you're right. Like there's so many those par fours that are so freaking hard. 10, 11, 14, 17, 4, 5. Like there's so many hard par fours that it's like, yeah, give them a little something. And with the nuanced screens, like they're still not that easy. So yeah, I agree there. Any other takes there, like Pierce, Victor, like on those to the changes or anything else there?
Well, I did want to address what I didn't like. One thing, that is not being able to watch the Masters on Thursday, the opening round. It's kind of annoying. Hate to wait till the weekend to watch it like on ESPN. That's one thing that kind of annoys me every year. But I mean, ESPN Plus was only $7, which was totally fine. But that's just one little negative. But overall, everything was great. I have nothing bad to say. It's like literally the holy grail, or the holy golf course of everything. So
I know it is hard to like nitpick and like little things, but yeah, overall, like I mean, everything about it is so good. But I just, because I didn't really see too many things besides obviously some of the coverage takes and those that I didn't really like. But Victor, you mentioned something about Trail Hatton and his take on the golf course, which I'm happy to address that. I have a take on that, but what did he say? What was the like context for Tyrrell Hatton's comment on after he finished dead last on Sunday?
Well, Tyrell Hatton's pretty vocal on the course about how he feels about how he's playing. I mean, he's one of the guys that'll say some words, throw a few clubs if he's not going right. So he's one of us to a certain degree, but he finished, the worst you could at Augusta. He was dead last out of those that made the cut. And so he made the cut, and then his Saturday, Sunday was a 79, then an 80. And he just said, I mean, you look at the scores, I know the weather was a huge factor. It was blowing at Augusta.
Yeah.
And when we play golf courses all the time where it's, man, if it's windy, it changes the way you hit approach shots to the green, because you want to be able to keep your ball on the green. Now with Augusta, those greens are just, it's when it's a calm day, it's hard to keep a ball on those greens depending on where you hit the ball. Now when the wind's blowing, got to be just such a hard task. So hats off to Scheffler. I mean, he's just killing it out there. But Tyrell Hatton, he said he was not very happy about the course. He said simply, I mean, his headline was that he'd be better off to come back and be a caddy at the Masters rather than be a player, because he's just so frustrated with that. And he doesn't like, he just said that good shots at Augusta, at least this year, maybe this is his history of Augusta, but that good shots were not being rewarded like they ought to be. And he thought he was hitting plenty of good, solid shots that would feed off the green, that would, maybe catch a bunker or something off the tee. And, that's golf. You are the one hitting the golf ball. And obviously the field will tell you how the course really is. He's the one finishing dead last from those that played the weekend. But he has a certain, I mean, from a viewing perspective, you'll see somebody hit a shot, especially maybe a perfect example is on Sunday at the pin location on that par 3 fourth hole. It's just, how do you get a ball to get up to that top level and to stay there off the tee from that distance? Mm-hmm. People were hitting good shots and see you later. It just feeds down to the front part of the green with the big slope that it had. And I mean, that is just how golf is going to be. So we're going to have the Open Championship at St. Andrews this summer, and you are going to see people hitting all types of weird shots in order to get close to a pin, and people are going to get screwed because they don't know how to roll the ball up and over these hills and mounds that St. Andrews will offer them. And he has, his take is, I accept half of it in that Augusta was set up pretty tough. I mean, the conditions, we'll see next year when they get back to it, how are guys going to play 15, for example? Maybe the weather is completely different. It's nice and hot and sunny, and they're loose and not wearing jackets and stuff, and they're just crushing their drives enough that they're able to hit that number 15 like they were in years past. And maybe Augusta is just getting ahead of themselves and saying, guys are going to continue to hit the golf ball really long, and we need to play catch up to that.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you boys think? I think it's a ridiculous take. I think it's just someone who's mad that they played terrible. I've done that. I've cursed golf holes and golf courses after playing terribly. But it's like, dude, it's Augusta. Like, these guys know as soon as they hit the shot, like they know if it's going to be bad or not. So it's like, it's not, I don't know. I think it's a ridiculous take. But Pierce, what do you think? Like, you think that's fair, or do you think he's just whining?
Well, to your point, I think that when you play a golf course like that and you're that good at golf, essentially, you know how tough the course is going to play, and if you're not playing well, I think your emotions get the best of you. I mean, I can attest to that. When I don't play well, I get super pissed, and it's not fun. So to that point, yeah, I think that he let his emotions probably get the best of him, honestly, because he knew how tough the course is playing.
Yeah. Like, I like watching him as much as the next guy. Like, throw a club.
Yeah.
Just put yourself down. And like, some of his hot mics are incredible. And I appreciate him for that. He gives us something, but I don't know. I think that's bad. Sean, what, agree, disagree?
Hardcore disagree with him. In my mind, I think Augusta is the fairest golf course. It's the perfect balance of between fair and challenging, right? Where I think it rewards good shots. And if you don't hit good shots, you're not going to get rewarded, right? You don't get away with bad shots at Augusta. And going a step further, it's in such immaculate condition. It's not like you're getting bad lies. The greens run perfectly true. Your chipping areas are fluffy, right? They're not tight, hard lies. So it sets up so like it's all there for you to hit the shot. Like, it's completely on the golfer, right? Obviously, you could get a gust of wind on 12 and that kind of thing happens. But for the most part, right, I think it just boils down to the person hitting the shot.
Yeah.
And the course will reward you if you hit good shots, and it's going to reject bad shots.
Yeah.
But it's easy for me to say watching from my couch.
100%. So. Dan, do you concur there?
Yeah, I'm out on Tyrrell's take because I refuse to believe that Scotty Scheffler got lucky that many times more than everybody else. So
yeah,
I'm out on that one.
I like it. That's but props to him for being I don't know of any other player that said anything remotely close to that. Like, that I don't know of. Like, when you talk Augusta, it's nothing but praise and a true test of golf. So,
I mean, did we hear anything from Kevin Na after he 5-putted 16 one of the days?
We're not going to speak. We're not going to give him.
I hope he walks that fifth one in.
He walked them all in.
Idiot. Gosh, what a freaking.
That's
idiot.
Karma. That's
Hey,
karma.
nah, dude.
God, that just got me all fired up, Sean. Speaking of terrible. Terrible on the eyes. Any specific shot at the Masters that just sends shivers up your spine? There's a lot for me, but Sean, what's the shot that you see at Augusta that you're just like, I'm better off just putting my way up?
Anytime I see the behind the view look of 18's tee shot, I swear, year in and year out, those trees get closer and closer together. It looks like you got about a 5-yard window that you got to put it through, and you have to cut the ball. And I physically am unable to move the golf ball left to right with my golf swing. There's just no way. I would probably just wedge it to the front tee box, and then probably just tee up a 3-wood or something and hit that. So for me, that one 100%, I couldn't do it.
Shout out to Pierce for being the only one out of this group that could scare the fairway and could play that hole with that perfect butter cut. So Pierce, if that's not your shot, then what's the one that gives you the shivers?
Oh man, tell me about it. Hole number 10. The drawer's paradise. I would try and draw it and I would slice it even worse. I don't know. That thing that hole looks so daunting to me. It's just amazing how those guys can draw the ball through there and perfect. I don't know. That's the one that would haunt me in my dreams. You hate to see it.
Opposition, man. You truly, a fader hates to see 10s tee.
Oh, you guys are all draw kings, so you guys would be just fine.
Just hook it down the fairway. What about Victor? What about you, man?
Man, I will say, man, like number 11, 18's tee shot looks impossible to me. Like I'll say it right now. If I'm not hitting the right trees on takeoff as I'm sending this thing right to left, then I am so far into the bunkers and trees on the left side that I'll just see my way off the course from there. But number 11, like the tee shot there is very daunting, but it's just kind of I have a pretty good power draw, and that second shot going down,
that's wet.
Like I could send it way out to the right and have it bounce onto the green, or just like stick if the pin's on the left side of the green there. But knowing that it just slopes towards that water, I don't know what I do, man. I mean, do I just blade it up the right side and let it roll? To me, that's tough. I mean, that really is that long second shot where anything draw is bad. I have troubles.
Speaking, it feels a little like 18 at BCC.
I have troubles there. If I'm not hitting the water, I'm hitting somebody's front door.
Putting some hole and some stucco.
Ooh.
Oh, love it. Dan, what about you, man?
I hate anytime I have a downhill lie, so I think I'm just gonna say like Augusta would be my. Like there's not a flat lie out there as soon as you get off the tee box. So, but no, like if I had to pick a hole, I'm with Sean. 18. Yeah, it looks like it's like 10 feet wide that you have to hit it. You need to hit it 300 yards, and then you're able to do that. Okay, here's a 190-yard uphill shot to a green that's like three tiers, bunkers on either side. Like hard pass for me.
Yeah,
that one scares me.
It's tough.
It's true. Yeah, I can attest to all those for sure. But what else? What else, boys? What have I missed? I mean, there's so many different things that we could touch on. Been going for a little bit now, but what are last takes or anything you want to make sure you get off your chest as we wrap up another awesome Masters and the kickoff to the majors?
I would just say that Bryson DeChambeau is eating his words on Augusta being a par 68. So year after year, he will eat his words at what that course actually will do to him.
Isn't it crazy? Like, given like a year ago that what Bryson was doing, and like where a lot of these guys were, like Tiger, for example, like it's crazy how much has changed. And I think we all kind of talked about it, just like sustaining that for Bryson would be quite the feat. Like, it was cool what he did coming out of quarantine and just ate up golf courses, put Wingfoot to shame. But it's like, dude, that's quite the task on a body, and to do that over long term, that's that's tough. So
I just remember seeing him come in, or when the pandemic was going on. I remember we were at your place, me, you, and Sean, and Bryson looked like the Hulk, dude. He was just like all sitting up to the tee box. Like, who is this guy? He looked unreal. Just crazy.
Just a thick boy.
Dude, he got giant. Oh my gosh.
So it was cool what he did, but this sustaining that's tough. So it's a good take.
Along those same lines too, who would you say was the most disappointing player this week?
Oh, I hate to say Spieth, given me, but it's like, dude, to double the last hole to miss the cut, man. What are you doing? I had faith. He's my first round pick. What an idiot. I had terrible picks, and I was bagging on everybody else's. I was bagging on Victor for his Hideki pick. He pulled through in the clutch, and I'm an idiot. So I think that's easily mine.
I'd maybe throw Koepka in the mix too. I thought he had started off pretty well on Thursday, but faded really hard. So
he could not putt.
He's been struggling with the putter for a little while, and that means Augusta will definitely amplify. Yeah.
I think Phil got in his head at the PGA Championship a year ago. I'm just
Dude,
kidding.
I mean, I think it was kind of the way he hobbled in 19 for the PGA Championship. Like, I don't know, but there was just something about like the way that he won that. Is just, I don't know. It's kind of hung around. Let's just hope it's not the same for Scotty. You know, that format just distilled in his mind. So,
I think
think-
from go on.
I was gonna say maybe throw Justin Thomas in there as well, just opening up with the 76, right? Basically ends his tournament from the get-go, and he obviously has high expectations coming into any golf tournament. So I wonder if maybe pressure was just a little bit too much to start out.
Yeah,
Kind of took himself out of it. Yeah.
He said it in his press conference of like, I just put too much pressure on myself here. So I think this will be a good learning because he's still top 8th place, crazy, something like that. So impressive.
I was gonna say Xander Schauffele missed the cut. That was another one who's always like right there in the mix every year. Surprised.
You're bagging on my picks, Pierce. You're exposing me.
Oh, dude, no, I was not. I was just saying that
That's true, man.
it was just interesting.
Man,
I don't know.
after last year, right? Like, if it wasn't for that one swing on 16, like he chased down Hideki, but I think he would have it going. But yeah, it's not good.
Just goes to show how tough it was playing. Some of these guys are really good and they missed the cut. So,
yep. Victor, Dane, any disappointments from some players?
I think we've covered them all pretty well.
Yeah.
I do have one. I might have to argue with Pierce here a little bit. I think it's like one of my favorite things about the Masters is their app and website. Like it's so good, especially like, I don't know if you guys use the PGA Tour app week in and week out, but it's terrible. And then you use the Masters app and it's incredible. It's like, you guys are talking about the ESPN Plus, but if you use the Masters app, it has every one of those feeds on there live and it's free. It's got like the featured groups, and they actually choose good featured groups instead of like Jason Kokrak or something like that. But yeah, the Masters app, it's so good. It's got, you can see every player's every single shot. Like they have a video clip of, like, if you want to go and watch Dustin's round on Saturday and see every single one of his shots, like you can just go into the app and go through every one of his shots. The live video is awesome. Like Devin, you were mentioning, they have Shane Bacon and Colt Knost. Like it's super good. So I think that really enhances the viewing experience of the tournament. Sometimes it ruins it. Like on Sunday, they've got the shots posted of Rory making eagle on 13, and then CBS shows it like 5 minutes in a commercial break later.
Of course.
So it's kind of like their own worst enemy, right? Like their app is so good it almost hurts the broadcast. But
Yeah.
I think it really enhances the experience of the Masters.
That's good. That's good to know. You learn something new every day. So next year I'm gonna go to the Masters app. I had no idea. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Pierce, I'm the same, girl. I had no idea. And we were playing on Thursday. Victor's like, well, just play it on the Masters app. I was like, what the freak are you talking about, man? He's like, so yeah, just play the Masters radio. And yeah, it was sick. Like they did such a good job of doing the play, but we didn't miss, anything. So besides the 5G was a little sketch out in Bloomington. But yeah, I didn't know about it either. And I think it's just because I grew up like having DirecTV, and DirecTV had like a very specific like Masters section on channels. So I would just always use that. Like, and so I didn't even know that the Masters app was a thing either. So
yeah, it's awesome because app. like you guys said, like the broadcast doesn't come on until like 1 p.m. Mountain time. Mm-hmm. Like 2/3 of the field is already played, but it's awesome. Like the featured groups start early in the morning. Yeah. Start early in the morning, and like you can see like on Thursday they had all of Tiger's round on there, and yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
man, I wasted $7.
Dude, it's actually still pretty good. We, me and Victor, we play for who's gonna pay for it for the month at Bloomington, pretty much in our,
awesome.
in our matchups. And pay up, Victor. No, it's good. Anything else, then? Like, again, it's just so good. And it's so hard to put it all, like, try to keep it somewhat in a reasonable time, because we could go on and on. But as we wrap up, any last parting thoughts?
I guess there's a golf tournament this week called Harbortown. That's it. So, I mean, there's there is more professional golf out there
Yeah, it's kind
in the
of
month of April.
just so stuck on but hey, maybe hopefully there's more people tune in as they watch the Masters and like, yeah, maybe I want to get into this little golf thing. So let's do that real quick. Let's take one pick for RBC and let's just see who can get the top finisher. Sean, obviously you're gonna have you lead the way with your incredible picks this week, so why don't you go and take your pick for RBC.
I feel like having all four of my guys finish top 8, that should buy me like a couple weeks worth of wins. All right, let's see. For my pick this week, let's go Colin Morikawa. He played pretty well over the weekend, so he's highest ranked player in the field this week, so I'll go with him.
I like it. Dane, what's yours?
I'm gonna go with Kevin Kisner. He said that he can only win at like 4 courses on tour each year, and I think this is one of his 4, so he should be primed to
the short hitter
this week.
Ain't no hobby. Ain't no hobby.
It is.
Name on the bag. Yeah, I love it, man. Paris, what about you?
I'm gonna go with Cameron Smith. He's a stud. I thought he was gonna get the job done at the Masters there for a minute. He's really good.
I like it. Victor, who you got?
I will take big old Matt Kuchar this week.
Huge.
Not bad. All right, I'll round us out with another little dark horse and Robert Streb. Incredible playoff with him and Kisner. You got me going on that, Dane. So I'm gonna go with the little Streb there and see what he can do at the short course. So surprisingly decent field, but kind of just again we see the course all the time. Every year it's good course again for the short hitters too. So it'll be good. So all right, boys, I like it. Any parting thoughts? Last shout outs. Victor, any shout outs? What you got?
Shout out to what's Tiger's caddy's name? Joe LaCava.
Man. Baldy.
Sticking with Tiger and not going to another job for 17 months.
Sure, he's financially, I'm sure he ain't hurting, but you can get rid of the Giants tee though. That seems just a little sacrilegious to have those New York teams sticking out on his chest on his caddy bib, but whatever.
Probably loves Eli Manning.
Oh man. Anything else? Any other shout out, boys, or should we wrap up? Anything else?
Can I shout out myself for making a quad and a triple in my tournament over the weekend?
Oh, how did I forget? Break it down, Sean. You can't leave us like that.
Yeah, so
where'd you play?
We should do a weekly. This is gonna be a weekly thing. You hate to see it segment, Sean.
I'll be the star of the show every weekend. Yeah, so I had played in a tournament at Glenmore over the weekend up here in Salt Lake, and
Salt Lake's Augusta, huh?
I mean, the greens were as fast as any course I've ever played up here.
Love it.
It was crazy. But it was freezing cold and the wind howled the entire time. Got through the front 9 pretty good. And then there's a hole on the back 9. It's number 11. It's a short dog leg left, houses lining not the rough, just the fairway. It's fairway then houses. And it was straight into the wind, which is not what I like to see when I'm trying to decide what club to hit off the tee, because I can't hit driver when it's straight into the wind. So I decided to try to play it safe with the little driving iron I have and hit the first one left. So it's like, all right, better hit a provisional. And of course, since the first one went left, the second one, it cleared the second street of houses on the right, probably. Just one of those, as soon as it was off the face of the club, I'm walking back to my bag to grab another ball. And oh my gosh, it was so far right. So now, if you're keeping track at home, I'm now hitting 5 off the tee. Usually you don't want to hit 5 at any point on a par 4, but I'm still on the tee box, still hitting 5 off the tee. So hit that one in play, because I basically just a nice little hosel rocket, just kind of top it down the hole. But to add insult to injury, find the first one, and in my eyes, it was right on the OB line, because basically it was in between two OB stakes. And then there was a third stake right by my ball, which was out of the ground for some reason. But I could see what I thought was like the post hole, and my ball was pretty clearly inside the post hole. But if you're looking at the two posts in the ground, it was outside of the line. So I was talking to my playing partners, and I was like, all right, I'll let you guys make the call. In my mind, it's inside the line because of the post hole. And they're like, wow, we got to go off of what's in the ground. So we're going to call it out of bounds. So I'm like, swear word. So at that point, I got to trudge back to the third provisional to hit 6. And then tapped that up onto the green and walked away with the quad there. So that was rough. And then 2 holes later, oh my gosh, I made a triple because I hit a tee shot slightly right again, and it landed in play. But because it landed adjacent to literally the only house on the entire hole that doesn't have a fence, it rolled into the backyard out of bounds.
Oh my.
So that was a triple as well. So that was my adventure. So me and Terrell are out there getting completely screwed over. It's completely the golf course's fault.
Of course.
Not my fault at all. So that was my you hate to see it.
An incredible wrap up to the segment. You hate to see it, but
Love
appreciate
it.
you sharing, and certainly not laughing at you. We are 100% laughing with you, as we can all empathize. So what a way to wrap up the Masters recap pod. Appreciate it, Sean. Boys, thanks for joining. It's always a pleasure. If you're still listening, we appreciate it. We love you. We see you, and we'll see you next week. Keep striving.
Peace.